Hey everybody, it's your hospitality friend Glenn here, and I'm at Duetto's Perform event in Fort Lauderdale. And I could be out on the beach, I could be hanging out, doing nothing, but I found Bob Matsuoka. He's the Chief Technology Officer with Duetto, and I figured this was more important for me to do. But hey, how are you, man?
I'm great.
All right, so I'm talking about AI so much, it's making my ears bleed.
Right.
But we need to talk about it. But I think the conversation we're having is in the wrong direction. It's still too theoretical and not practical.
Right.
You're a practical guy.
I'm a very practical guy.
I want to, you were in it way before we all knew what it was. I was still calling it machine learning, probably, right?
So actually, that's an important distinction.
Yeah.
So AI is very different than machine learning. Machine learning actually is the guts of what we do and the value to the hotels, but AI is going to make it accessible.
Yeah. Excellent. So machine learning is the mechanism. AI is the way we gather the information from that mechanism. So instead of being theoretical about it, how should we be thinking about it practically today to help hoteliers understand what's going on and make money?
Yep. So I think the first thing is understand what it is and what it is.
Right.
I think the biggest mistake people made is that they learn on ChatGPT and they think of it as an answer machine.
Right.
You just set up AI, ask questions, and that is the worst. It's first of all, it's going to lie.
Right.
It's going to hallucinate.
Yeah, and like I feel like I could use AI because I know when it's lying to me because I've been in the business 30 years.
Exactly.
But young people may not. Right. Go on.
So I think the way to think about AI, it is the best translation machine in the world. And translation doesn't mean just between different languages.
Right.
It's between code and language, data, language. And actually the data translation is actually maybe the most important thing. So what it's doing, what it can do is it can take your data and process it. It can actually write code to analyze it. Here's the other secret. AI on its own isn't very good at large amounts of data. And when AI works with a large set of data, you know what it does?
It freezes.
Yes.
That's happened to me.
But it also writes code to understand it. So for it, writing code is almost like speaking. So when you say AI is talking to your data set, what it's doing is it actually is bringing code. That code will then process it, but it manages it all under the scene, behind the scenes. So you don't have to worry about the complexity. You just say, here's my data set, and it can be pretty big. And in fact, it's getting bigger. And even bigger if you actually were talking to like an API or an MCP service. But what it's doing is saying, okay, you asked me to help you in a certain way, and that's important. Ask it how to help, how it's going to help you. I will then bring the tools to help you understand that data, and that data, those tools can include code. And so at the end of the day, you don't have to see any of it. What you want is the answer is to say, well, based on my tools and the code I've written, here's what you want to know.
Nice. I like it. All right. Now that we understand that, yeah, I understood that. I know what you're thinking, but I did. How do we really turn it into something that we can use right now and get value out of?
Right. So I say that we are in the operational phase. So the base operations phase of AI. So yes, you can use AI for helping you with strategy and analytics and all these fancy things. But frankly, what it's best at right now is saving you that 3 hours of time in the morning when you're reading your emails, compiling things, compiling lists, compiling action items, compiling report data. In fact, I just had a hotel revenue operator, manager, come say, so listen, all my time is taken up by just moving data. I'm taking it from these output reports I'm getting from my RMS systems, my market data systems, my ComStat systems, putting it together and preparing reports for the management team.
Total waste of time.
Total waste of time. That time can be 100% used done by AI. Now, it may not be fast at doing it, but it can do it on its own.
Well, fast is a relative term.
Right.
Whatever it is, it's going to be much faster than me.
Yes.
And then if I have all that additional time to do something else, I can find heightened levels of productivity and solve problems that I may have been avoiding for a long time. So it's a really good tool with that. For me, myself, I'm using it in my personal life. For example, if I want to create something based on a bunch of interviews that I do, I can load it up and it can tell me where the commonalities are. Like that, as opposed to me having to use this sad old brain to kind of put it together.
So I'll tell you something that we're talking about AI writing code. If you have AI running on your computer, you upload a video, it can write a program that will actually generate a transcript of your video on its own.
On its own.
On its own. And then the output of that transcript then can be analyzed for those patterns. So again, AI can't read that video. It doesn't have that memory. It's very good, but it can write the code, and there's a lot of common applications, libraries that will do the work of transcribing fund from raw video.
Wow. All right. We need to talk about that
Yeah,
because I'm paying too much money to get
Yeah.
my transcriptions right now. All right, but let's leave these folks
Yeah.
with one thing
Yes.
that they need to do right now to be ahead of the
Yes.
competition.
Yes. Yeah. And everybody's doing it. So you did definitely need to sort of focus on this, because if you're not, they are. So what I would say is start with an enterprise AI account. I would recommend Anthropic. I think they're sort of the market leader in enterprise AI. Get an enterprise AI account, or at least start by getting your own account so you're familiar with it.
I that way learn and
Learn
play with
yes,
it.
exactly.
Learn how to ask questions in a more interactive way instead of just saying how to.
Right. And obviously, you get permission from your IT manager or CTO, but connect it to your email, connect it to your Google Drive accounts, and with Claude AI is a program called Cowork. Cowork runs on your laptop, and have it run a job. Can run scheduled jobs every morning at 6 a.m. to read your email, pull all the reports you want to process or synthesize into a folder on your computer, and then give it an example of the report you want with a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint, and say, hey, here's the format. Here's the format. Here's the data. Wow, do that for me. And you'll come in at 7 or 8 or whatever you come in, and that report should be there.
Wow. Or it sounds like coming at 11 because now you got all this extra time. I'm just kidding. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I think the cool thing is, I really do. Look, it's not intelligent. I won't make that mistake, but I think of it as a team. If my team working, I actually have a machine, a very powerful machine at home that is constantly running. I actually feel guilty it's not working because it's free work, kind of. So definitely, I think, play around with that operational efficiency piece. Have it do a lot of the grunt work for you, and see how much time you get freed up to do else.
I love it. Great advice. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Our pleasure.
Hey, you're going to want to rewatch this one over and over and over again because there's so much great information in here. I'll be doing that too. Don't you worry. He's Bob. I'm Glenn. You're you. See you later. Bye.
Excellent.